Hi, this is Jen Bueller, and welcome to DIY Anyone. Today I have for you some adorable little critters that we're going to start with. When I was literally probably 8 or 9 years old is when I started making this first little treat that you're going to see today. Here are the friends that I'm going to be working with today. All right, so this box that I have that says Craft Mice was literally from when I was a kid. I have saved this thing since then. I showed you this yarn because I'm going to be using this for the second one. So here is the literal opening of this box that since I was a kid, and just seeing what's all in there. Obviously, kind of messy, but like I say, I was probably 8 or 10 years old. So what I'm going to make is a mouse. And this little ornament is an ornament hanger made out of, there's the ears, and I'm pulling out the pieces, and it's made out of a walnut shell. There's the piece of the mouse head that I was working on, and I would just sew that together because guess what? No glue guns back in those days because I'm not exactly, young. And then here are the walnut shells that are the bed for the little mouse. I'm telling you, this is the cutest thing. And you can make this with your kids. They will love it. And what I'm adding today that I haven't made before, since we have such a gnome craze, is I challenged myself to make a little gnome for this too. All right, so here's the little mouse, and I sewed the little beads on his eyes and a bead on his nose. There's his little bed, and there's his tail. And the tail hangs out of the bed. So if you think about anything you'd like to make for this, all you'd have to do is figure out what kind of head you want to make. Figure out if it's an animal that you make, what would you hang out of the bottom of the bed. And then we go with the tail. Hot glue that baby in. And then it didn't want to sit flat. It was hanging out kind of weird. So I did put a little dot of glue underneath on the walnut shell outside of where the tail is, just to glue that down. And there you go. So then we'll just glue this together. And then the only other thing you want to do before you put that bed in is how are you going to hang it. Now I have this red ribbon again, ribbon, excuse me, again from the original mice that I made. And you can see too that you could use anything for this little bed. The calico print that I used was perfect because then each little mouse bed was a different little part of the diagonal. The diamond shaped fabric that you see on the left in the lid of the box. So I just tie a shoestring bow, and then what we're going to do is cut that off to about the length that you want it, and you're going to glue half of it on one side, half on the other side. So it will hang, and use your little tool or your finger protector so you don't hurt your fingers. And now we're going to add the rest of the mouse. There you go. That's the last part. Looks kind of creepy like that, just a tail hanging out. And there's the head going to go in next. And then the bed. And just give it a good little glop of glue. So back when I made these, again, back in the day, no hot glue, so I would just have to use like a ton of Elmer's glue. And these wouldn't hold still. I can remember the head popping out or things happening if I didn't wait and try and do that before. So the little bit is a piece of cotton ball just sewed up to gather around it. And the piece of fabric is about 2 inches in diameter. I did measure that, take one apart and measure that for you. So if you can see, how cute is that little mouse in his little bed hanging on your Christmas tree. Isn't he adorable? And especially if your kids can say they made that, how proud are they going to be? Plus, to give to a grandparent, oh my Lord, they would melt just as gifts. There you go. There's our little mouse friend. All right, so we're going to go on to making a gnome now, since everybody's so gnome crazy. And that's the reason I showed the yarn at the beginning, because that's just yarn from Dollar Tree. And I wound it around several times. What I'm going to do is use this yarn to make the beard. And I'm only going to end up using a microscopic amount of this yarn. I'm doing this all, on the fly as we go. I had not done this ahead. And so basically just get you some yarn. That's the bottom line. Then hold it by the top. And then what I have there that I'm using is a dog brush. So you could use anything. You could use a hairbrush, a dog brush, whatever, just to make it so it's very easy to make that whiskery effect with your yarn. So you can just see it, just something that has those bristles. Excuse me. And initially, I brushed on this for quite a while. And then I take some black felt, make the feet sticking out for your gnome. And I used the same cloth that I had, but wouldn't that be cute with burlap? If you use a burlap bed, and then you've got his little feet that are sticking out. And then we're gonna have his beard. Now the next thing that I'm gonna make is his cap. And I have to apologize, I was kind of out of frame for some of this, but I just took a piece of the same fabric and I made a hem out of it. Just glue something down so you don't have that raw edge around where the top where the cap's gonna go. And I basically just made it into a cone. And with something so small, because your raw edge is off to the side, it really doesn't matter. So here you go. So here is the cone that I glued down. I'm not sure why it went black there. We couldn't figure out what happened with that, but you didn't miss anything. Anyway, so then the next thing I'm going to do is take some cotton and stuff that little hat. So again, take your cotton ball, take tiny pieces of cotton, and then I just had this little, I don't even know what this is from. This was in my mouth box. And just use it to stuff that cotton into there, make the hat full. So your hat's full. You're going to put it on the top of the bed. I did decide, he needs a pom-pom. And that is a Dollar Tree thing of pom-poms. And I tried the red one. I'm like, nah, too small. Take it off. So I decided to go with the next size up. And we're going to go with the green one. There you go. And then I took also, once that green pom-pom was done, and glued it down so that it stayed kind of at an angle, like the hat was droopy. And you'll be able to see that in just a second. And our gnome is almost done. Then you can see the beads that I use for his nose I use just some, you can use any beads you want to use. Obviously, just to keep it to scale is the biggest challenge that I would give you, is to make sure that that nose isn't too big. So, all right, we're gluing the cute little hat in there, in the bed. And then all we have left are his whiskers and his nose, and he's going to be almost done besides his little hanging piece as well. So when you're doing this whiskery stuff, it takes kind of a bit to figure out, okay, how much long of a beard am I going to have? And I really did kind of fuss with this quite a bit. And just play with it until you've got it how you like it. I'll end up giving that beard quite a haircut. I didn't want it to look like he was like, hanging clear down. I thought that would be weird, and then you couldn't see the little feet. All right, so then we're gluing down that beard. Give it a little haircut. And those are my little Dollar Tree scissors, which I think are adorable. And now we're going to glue the string in there. On either side. And one thing I'd like to point out too about that shoestring bow. So I would let my grandchildren play with these little ornaments, and the first thing that happened was the little bow came out, which shouldn't I have figured that out? So put a little dot of glue where your bow is, if once you get it to kind of how you want it, because honestly, I tried to retie it, and it was not very easy to retie exactly in the middle like you started with it. So follow my example. Don't follow my example. Put in a dot of glue, and then that will help you. And be ready for just the cutest little gnome. So there's his little feet. And his beard is glued in place. Now we got his little bed in. And now we're adding our hat. There goes her hat. Get that tucked in really well. Glue that baby down. And you have that edge, that nice edge on the cap, so it looks finished. That's really cute. And then, last but not least, his little nose. Glue that baby in. I did get a little bit of glue stuck to the side of his beard, and I just had to cut that away. But seriously, how cute is this? In the little walnut hanging from the tree. I think it's got to be a prize winner for the season, don't you? So have fun making these little gnomes. Just go buy some walnuts, break them in half, and you're good to go. All right, and there's our two little ornaments. Aren't they adorable? I sure hope you enjoy making them as much as I did for many, many years as a child, and now to bring this back. And my grandchildren, my eldest, are actually that age, so we're going to make them together. Okay, now today is part of the Friday Friend Hop with Heidi Sonboul. I'm so thrilled to be part of it, and guess what the giveaway is a Cricut Explore Air 2. It is amazing. And I want you to know that linked down below is the next channel in the hop, and each channel will be linked to the next person, which will take you around the full circle. Be sure to leave a comment along the way to be entered into the giveaway for that new Cricut Explore Air 2. That is a huge, huge value. Okay, what are we going to make next? We are going to make a live greenery centerpiece. I showed you initially while I was talking about the Explore Air 2. I got too excited. Is the piece of Oasis foam. Understand that that is not the stuff that they sell at Dollar Tree. You've got to get the Oasis foam that is for live florals. And what I did was I cut a piece of that off. It comes in the big piece that you can do is in thirds. And you put it in a cup, whatever cup you're going to use. It doesn't matter, just as long as the foam gives you about an inch above the cup itself. And then you've got to drench it with water before you start this process of doing the boughs. Now, what we're going to make is this gorgeous live centerpiece that I've been making these, honestly, for, gosh, over 28 years. And down below in my description box, I'm going to link to you how I did this with the fake greenery. Okay, so there you can see how the water is full in there, and then you push your candle that you're going to use down inside that foam before you start. Now, I'm showing you here the right side and the wrong side of the greenery. You cannot do this with the wrong side up. See how that's light? The other side's dark. That's the right side, wrong side. And it's subtle, but you can see it. One more time. There's the wrong side, and see how that's dark and pretty? That's the right side. So you want that dark side up. Wrong side, and there's the right side. So that's very important. As far as how I cut my pieces into sections, you can see that in my other video too. I break that down into actually cutting the inches of, how many inches to cut it in. Now, here's the key with using live greenery with that foam, is you cannot just take and stick that end of the greenery in without pulling off about 1 inch to 1.5 inches of the needles. Otherwise, it won't go in, it won't stay in, it doesn't look right. That is the whole secret. If you learn nothing else from watching this video, that is the key to remember. And you can see once you pull off those, and I change it to the other side, I'm like, why do I do that? I'm left-handed, and it makes more sense for me to pull it off with my non-dominant hand because I'm using my left hand, sometimes my right hand, to insert the greenery. Now, as you do this, the first thing you want to do is establish I make this. You can see that the greenery itself is an oblong shape. So that's how I make it to where the longest greenery is on the long side of the actual Oasis foam. Notice too, see how that cup is dry? That greenery has soaked up already that water. And when you finish making this, you're going to want to water your centerpiece over the sink at least once a day, every other day, because it will continue to drink. And I've had these greenery centerpieces for myself. I make them, usually I try and get them out right after November after Thanksgiving hits, I get them out to people, and I've had them last until Valentine's Day. They're amazing. They're such a beautiful gift to give to someone. And talk about, taking your time and placing every single piece of greenery. You think, oh my gosh, this takes forever. And honestly, I have gotten to the point where I can knock one of these out in 30 minutes. That includes cutting the greenery. Now, you can see that when I'm progressed in this greenery, that there's just a pile of greenery. And the first bit that I showed, I kind of had divided it into the longer pieces at the bottom, which are about 7 inches. Then the middle pieces, which are 5 to 6, actually 4 to 6 inches. And then the top, I use 2 and 3 inch pieces. And the other thing that makes it, so this is how I actually do it each year, is that I actually just pull the pieces as I go. I don't stop and separate them, because once you get the bit of it, your eye will tell you. And in my other centerpiece, using the fake greenery, I actually show you exactly how I'm doing it each time. So on the top, and forgive me, the angle's not very good here, but on the top, you've got the smaller pieces around the candle. And that's why you put the candle in first, so that you don't have to worry about inserting something afterwards, and you get the scale. There, it's a little bit closer. And so those 2-inch pieces are at the top, and then you just feather your way down, and increasingly add the pieces that are a little bit larger all the way down as you go. But look how gorgeous that is. Now I want you to notice something. If you go to a florist and you get one of these, one thing that they do afterwards is they go back and they cut the tips, and it shows. It looks so horrible, and it doesn't have that natural ending that these have. All right, so now what I've done is I'm working my way around. And also too, in the other thing that I showed you, the other video, I used actually a piece of white foam just to show you how to do this. And believe it or not, you cannot see the foam at all. So you'll just keep putting these pieces in. And I actually use too when I'm doing these, I've made over 100 at a time at the Christmas season, giving them to everybody from teachers to pastors to neighbors to family. It does not matter. They all love it, and they're all kind of thinking, am I going to get a centerpiece this year? Anyway, oh, right there, that's important. Okay, see that little piece that's broken like that and it's not sharp? That will not go in your greenery correctly. It will make a hole, and so you're going to retrim it, pull your piece off, and then reinsert it. That's one little extra tip too to teach you. All right, we're almost there. So again, I'm just looking for the pieces that will taper from my longest to my shortest up at the top. And again, don't forget to pull off that 1 inch of the greenery. You see, each time I insert that, it's empty. All right, it's bare. Okay, there's that one little spot we have left to do. Now, here's my guidance to you. You're thinking, how much greenery will I need? And the other thing I didn't say, oh my Lord, the other most important thing is this is Douglas fir. And as I was cutting, if you'll go back and if you'll watch the area where I was cutting the greenery, see how it's all wiggly? You don't want to buy greenery that is not got that nice, soft, pliable bit to it, or it will not lay nice like this. I've had times when I've had what looked like the Douglas fir, but it was more like a blue spruce type, and it didn't lay like this, and it was horrible. It didn't have that nice flowy bit to it, and you can see too when you go back and watch when I'm cutting this, the pieces, how they wiggle. Even as I'm holding this, as they wiggle, it has to wiggle or it doesn't work. All right, here we go. There's the final there of that, and the candle's a little wiggly because I kept messing with it. It won't do that in real life. Plus, I generally use a 12-inch candle. I use the one at Dollar Tree because it was what I had handy, and it was a 10-inch, and it doesn't have quite the scale or the I guess the nice look, or nor will it burn as long as the others. Now, do not leave this unattended to burn it. This is meant to be just something beautiful to use at your dinner table or whenever you want to use it, but don't leave it unattended because the greenery could catch fire. That'd be bad. Now, I have shown how to do this bow several times, And it's in my last video. I took lots of time to do it, but I didn't want to spend that time today. But you can go back and watch that other video I've referred to. It's called the Unreal Centerpiece, meaning because the greenery wasn't real. Yeah, my husband's a punster. You'll forgive me, I live in a penitentiary. All right, so then I'm taking these little loops, and that's the secret to make it look like the bow goes, the ribbon goes through the whole piece. And those are those little loops that make it look so cute. And you'll see this bin that I have with the gold, that's only one bin I have. I have a bin of red. I have a bin of silver. I have a bin of multicolor. Because again, I've been doing these for many, many years. And I will always go to Hobby Lobby and Joann's, and I buy all the pieces when they're 50% off. And what's fun is, I have to say, I've never made two centerpieces alike. The only reason I use this gold sparkly stuff, again, it was the first ribbon I grabbed. One thing that's kind of fun to do is to put a little thing at the center by the candle as kind of just an extra little added attraction. And, you know, I know this is very sparkly. I know a lot of you girls don't do glitter, so pick something that doesn't have glitter. But let me tell you, in the candlelight, when it has that little bit of glow, the glittery stuff really does look pretty, and it doesn't look gaudy. It looks so classy. So again, use whatever you want to use. I've used all kinds of different things here. Those cute little snowflakes at Dollar Tree. And then they have the balls at Dollar Tree too. Just stick a piece of wire at the end, and then you've got it. And I just put those different places. And honestly, people have given me back the pieces to the centerpiece at the end of the season, and I've reused it over and over again as well. All right, there you go. There's your final view. And isn't that something that you'd be pleased to hand to someone? All right, there's your beauty shot. And isn't it gorgeous? I did put some little lights in it for fun. Now, the last thing that I'm going to show you is a lantern. Now, this is a black Ikea lantern, and look how cute it turned out. You can see it started black. Oh, hi Maverick, hi Penny. They're going to be in the show. Yeah, they're smiling and wagging their tails for you. Anyway, sprayed it with the red paint. Hi guys. Yeah, they wanted to say hi. They're saying Merry Christmas early. And then let this dry. And then I just distressed it with sandpaper until I thought it looked good. And I started it upside down, because then you start upside down, you hit all the spots. And then just sand it off to how you want it. And it takes that gloss off of it, and then you can get down to the black underneath really easily. And that made it really, really look cool. And so just keep sanding it till it's how you want it. Especially pay attention to those areas where the little venting is. That's really pretty to make that look that way as well. And just sand it to how you like. And we're going to show you in a second what it's going to look like. Oh, that's the candle from a Dollar Tree. The little thing I end up putting in the center. And there it is with some little pine trees in it. All right, enjoy this friend hop. I sure hope you'll consider subscribing and come to visit me. And I've so enjoyed showing you these little things that I've done for many Christmases, and I hope that you'll enjoy doing the same. Send me questions in the